Hello, everyone. This is Ryan coming at you from Bitcoin Banter. This is a Bitcoin only YouTube channel dedicated to talking about all things Bitcoin. In today's episode, we will be talking about the Bitcoin halving. What is the Bitcoin halving? Today is June 13th, 2025. The current price of Bitcoin is $105,000. Let's get into it. Why are the Bitcoin halvings important? Bitcoin halvings are built into the Bitcoin protocol as a way to control the rate at which new Bitcoins are created and released into circulation. In short, the primary purpose is to control the total supply. There are only 21 million Bitcoins that will ever exist. That is the hard cap set limit in the protocol, and the Bitcoin halvings help keep that limit intact. Bitcoin miners and the Bitcoin halving, they're very intertwined. In order to understand the halving fully, you need to understand some basics about mining. Bitcoin miners process blocks of transactions and help secure the network. For this work, the miners get paid Bitcoin each time they find a block and add it to the blockchain. This payment is called the block reward. The block reward paid to miners are how new Bitcoins enter into circulation. This block reward gets reduced by half every 4 years, so the payment coming to the miners is cut in half. And this event is called the Bitcoin halving. Here's the Bitcoin blockchain visualized from mempool.space. As you can see, the purple blocks, they're all valid blocks that a miner has added to the blockchain. And for each one of those blocks, two things are simultaneously happening. One, transactions are getting processed as the block is found. And two, new Bitcoin are getting added into circulation through the block reward paid to the miners. The Bitcoin halving is automatically triggered by the Bitcoin network once 210,000 of these blocks have been mined since the last halving. So each halving happens once every 210,000 valid blocks. The average block time is 10 minutes, so 210,000 blocks is 4 years. As you can see on this chart, the current mining block reward is 3.125 Bitcoin for this current era that we're in. The last halving in April 2024, the block reward was reduced to 3.125 Bitcoin. As you can see, when Bitcoin first started, 50 Bitcoins were produced every 10 minutes. And then after the first halving, that reduced to 25 Bitcoin, and then 12 and a half, and so on. The upcoming halving in 2028 will reduce the mining block reward to 1.56 Bitcoin every 10 minutes. This is a great chart from Charts BTC on x.com. This chart shows all the recent halvings that we've had since the inception of Bitcoin. In the red, you have the era where 50 Bitcoin were produced every 10 minutes. In the blue, 25, and then so on. Right now, we're in the era where 3.125 Bitcoin are created every 10 minutes. And as you can see, the amount of Bitcoin produced every 4 years is getting cut in half. So in the red, you had 10.5 million, you'd half the supply of Bitcoin of the 21 million maximum supply cap created in the first 4 years of Bitcoin. Then 5.25 million were created from 2012 to 2016. And now we're actually in an era where very little Bitcoin are being created. There's only going to be 656,000 Bitcoin released over the next 4 years, and that will keep diminishing as time goes on. Another thing to note is the price at each Bitcoin halving. The first halving, it was $12. The second halving, Bitcoin was $658. The most recent halving, Bitcoin was $63,977. So as you can see, the price floor for each halving is rising. And not only that, if you actually look at when the halving occurs, 6 to 18 months after are followed by massive price ramps. So the price runs up quite a bit after the supply shock occurs in the market. As I mentioned before, the block reward paid to miners are how new Bitcoins enter into circulation. And when you have that new supply cut every 4 years, that creates a massive supply shock, especially when demand stays the same and increases over time. I would expect these supply shocks to continue to happen as Bitcoin supply continues to dwindle and the demand continues to go through the roof. So here's another great visual of the Bitcoin halvings. As you can see on this chart, there's the halving year, the block number, block reward, Bitcoin circulating supply, and circulating supply percentage. We know exactly how many Bitcoins there will be by the block number. We might not know the exact date that those blocks will occur, but we know exactly how many Bitcoins there will be, each and every block number. So at the most recent halving at block 840,000 in 2024, 93.75% of the entire Bitcoin supply had already been released. In 2036, at block 1,470,000, 99.2% of the entire supply is going to be mined. So that's basically all the Bitcoin mined by 2036. And it'll take another 100 years for the rest of the supply, 0.8%, to be mined. So this stuff is going to get really, really scarce really fast over the next 10 years. To conclude, I want to reiterate that the Bitcoin halving is an event programmed into Bitcoin that reduces the mining reward, which is the new supply coming into circulation, by half every 210,000 blocks, which is 4 years. This controls the supply issuance of Bitcoin, enforcing the 21 million limit. The halving has a direct impact on the price of Bitcoin just due to supply and demand economics. If you have a situation where you have an asset that has constant demand and demand is increasing and the supply is getting cut in half every 4 years, the new supply coming onto the market is getting cut in half every 4 years, you're going to have a situation where the price needs to reflect that shortage of supply. So that is why you have these bubbles that occur in Bitcoin every 4 years, adjusting to the supply shortage. Hopefully you learned something today. And if you like this video, please comment, like, and subscribe. Have a great day.